Welcome back to Old House, Our Home. This is going to be our 6th Christmas living here. Wow. Isn't that crazy?
Time flies.
Time
seriously flies. 14th together.
Wow.
14th Christmas together.
Too many, honestly.
I still haven't got a Christmas gift I wanted. I'm only joking.
Well, we thought we would share a video. We're going to be cooking our first quite festive meal of the year. So hopefully we're going to be able to share a few cooking tips. If you would like more cooking tips, I think your roast potato video was actually the best video of Christmas last year.
Really?
Yeah, I think...
I think the thing is, like, we love Sunday roast. We love Sunday roast in this house. And essentially, I think people get a little bit overly anxious about Christmas lunch, when in reality it is just another Sunday lunch with a few elevations.
Yes.
And today we're not going to run you through every single aspect. I've got a few videos on my channel that talk through that, and I'm hopefully going to find the time to do more cooking videos next year. Dexter is also wanting to be part of this video, but today we're just going to talk about a few different tweaks you can do to the classic Sunday roast dishes that elevate it and make it more festive. And we're going to talk about a few sort of hints and tips we've picked up on of having hosted 5 Christmases to date here. How many people do we normally host? Around 15, is it? Something like that? Something like that.
And I learnt this morning the average British household has 12 guests at Christmas.
Wow, so that's impressive actually.
Yeah.
And I think, the sad reality is the group that we've had has obviously got slightly smaller over the years, but hopefully going to get bigger again. Dexter has to be part of it, doesn't he? He's just a pest. He loves Christmas, but yeah, so what are we going to talk through first?
Well, I reckon something that often holds us up on Christmas Day is the readiness of the roasties. So should we get cracking with the roasties?
Let's start with the spuds, mate. When it comes to roast potatoes, I think the key is, A, don't overthink it, because it's actually quite hard to burn a roast potato. If anything, the worst thing is not having enough time for them to roast in the oven. You've got to make your decision on what potato you get. Another thing that I feel like people get there, am I allowed to say knickers in a twist?
Yeah.
I think you're allowed to say that phrase. Or boxes in a bind. These are actually just the potatoes that we got from our farm shop. They're not even a particular name or brand. You want potatoes that are good for roasting. You don't want potatoes that are good for baking or mashing. A lot of people like 𝑭𝒆𝒂𝒕𝒖𝒓𝒆 or King Edward, but yeah, just maybe check where you're buying them from and just check that they're suitable for roasting. And then you need to consider what fat you're going to use. We're going to use duck fat or goose fat today. But obviously, if you've got veggies or vegans in the house, olive oil is perfectly good for roast potatoes. And then I think the other thing to consider is it's something that does take a while preparing the potatoes. It's something that does really, in my opinion, need to be done on the day. We can talk about other aspects. A lot of your Christmas lunch can be done the day before. But I personally, some people say you can do them the day before and heat them up. I like to do them on the day. So you're very much the sous chef when it comes to this, and you like to peel them for me. The key with peeling them, believe it or not, there is a technique, but you're very good at it, is to get these angles. You want lots of angles like this, which are going to go crispy. If you have perfectly round potatoes, then they're still going to be nice, but they're not going to have all those crispy little edges. And then when it comes to cutting them, you also want, ideally, to cut them so that you create lots of angles and edges. So that flat side is going to go crispy, that flat side is going to go crispy, and then these corners are going to go crispy.
Yes.
And I personally like roast potatoes a mixture of sizes. Some people are very much, they like every single potato to look the same.
When you're presented with a bowl of roast potatoes, which one do you go for?
Well, I like to, when I'm serving people, I like to give them a mixture.
Yeah.
Because I think you want a few bigger ones that will soak the gravy up, and then you want a few really crispy bits, crispy edges.
So those little crispy ones that I like the best.
So, as I say, we're going to cut them, a few of them maybe leave like that size.
How many roasties should you plan for? So say we've got 6 coming, today we're cooking for 6 people.
Yeah.
How many spuds should you peel and cut?
I'll be honest, this is not a strength of mine, and we've been learning in terms of quantities, but what I would say is I live by the rule that you can never have too many roast potatoes.
Especially at Christmas, because you can make bubble and squeak the next day.
I would always err on the side of having more.
Yes.
I think if we're talking about sort of the average potato is probably this size, that should do 4 roasties. I would say for a lady, that's perfect. Do you know what I mean? For a guy, maybe 2 of those. My mum always, I think, does a rule of 2 potatoes per person.
That's not enough.
Well, no, but if there's 2 like that size, then that's a lot, right?
I thought you meant 2 roasties per person.
Because look, if I get these out of the way, so if you think about this large potato here, that has now become 4 roasties. and arguably you could halve that again. So that's plenty. That would actually be a lot for a lot of men would only have 4 maybe as well. I'm probably going to have 6, I'm not going to lie. But as I say, you can never have too many roast potatoes. And I think the key is this year we've said to ourselves, we're going to be a lot more on the ball with using the leftovers efficiently, aren't we? Because we obviously are going to have some leftovers. And I think the key is to then make sure you make the most of them on Boxing Day or on the 27th.
Yeah.
So we are going to need to get these on pretty sharpish. So this large potato, for example, we're going to do into 8, and then that's going to make them like that.
And to prepare the water for the spuds, loads of salt, as salty as the Mediterranean.
Okay, so
let's get them in.
Let's get those in. So the potatoes are boiling. As I say, today's video isn't necessarily going to be all about the different timings and the different elements of Christmas lunch. And if I'm honest, I've not done a video like that. I eventually will. It's quite a timely video to do, but I actually personally have learnt a lot of what I do here from 𝑭𝒊𝒏𝒅, and he's got some amazing videos that talk you through the timings and the Christmas master plan. But I think in terms of our master plan, I like to make a list on my phone on the 24th in the morning, knowing exactly what we're going to do. And on the 24th, I will make the gravy. And in terms of Christmas gravy, what I like to do is you go to the butcher's and ask, obviously when you get your turkey, you ask for giblets with your turkey, definitely. And those will go into the gravy. But actually also, they're quite cheap chicken wings. So maybe get 6 or 8 chicken wings, add them in with the trivet as you're making the gravy, because obviously you're going to cook the turkey the next day. And that will create a really meaty, lovely gravy that you can add the turkey juices to the next day, but you don't have all of the faff of making the gravy on the day.
Good thing.
So that's something to get done on the 24th. Another thing to get done on the 24th is if you are going to have Yorkshire puddings, which we actually won't have on Christmas Day. We will have them on Boxing Day with beef Wellington. Because it's a lot of oven space and a lot of timings. And cooking Yorkshire puddings for 12 or 13 people is quite a lot. Dexy.
Yes, we are talking about food, and you will get some leftovers.
So Yorkshire pudding batter I would also make the day before if you're doing that, and that can be kept in the fridge in a glass bottle. And then I would also make the cauliflower and broccoli cheese the day before, or cauliflower cheese, or whatever you're going to have with your roast. I think the other thing that we've learnt over the 5 years is also not to get too carried away with too many sides, especially on Christmas Day. I'd say a normal classic Sunday roast, we would normally do a piece of meat and the roast potatoes with gravy, and then maybe 2 sides and the cauliflower and broccoli cheese. And I think at Christmas it can be tempting to embrace loads more, because you've got sprouts, you've got pigs in blankets as well. So I think in terms of veg, we always like to do a carrot and parsnip, or just carrots, and then maybe the sprouts, and then with the cauliflower and broccoli cheese and everything else, that's more than enough food. And then if you're hosting on Boxing Day, you can maybe introduce a few other veg into that day. So we would maybe do green beans, or we'd maybe do tender stem broccoli or something like that day, wouldn't we? Because I grew up where, actually, in fairness, my nan and my mum used to do a lot of different veg, and it was amazing, but it was very stressful for them. And it's a lot. And I think the key thing that we want to get across in this video is that I don't think cooking a roast is particularly difficult, and you'll definitely learn by practice. But also, I think the key thing is to not let it kind of mean that you're in the kitchen all day on Christmas. Yeah,
there's nothing worse than having a stressed chef on Christmas.
No, but or being stuck in as a chef, or as the cook, being in the kitchen all day while everyone's enjoying catching up.
That's very true.
So
I think the carrot dish that you do is a really easy way to elevate a Sunday roast or a Christmas dinner, and I see so many people still doing the chopped and then boiled carrots, and it's so easy to elevate it. So do you want to quickly talk through how we can prep that?
Well, I think the obvious thing with a Sunday roast, though, for any American viewers or viewers that aren't as familiar,
they have Thanksgiving dinner.
Roast everything.
Yeah.
And to be honest, we live by that. We very rarely steam any vegetables. Roast every vegetable. So when it comes to the carrot, you have these beautiful carrots that are obviously take ages to grow, as we now know with the kitchen garden. And it makes you really appreciate your produce. And why would you then cut it into little discs? The best thing to do, really, is you want to make the most of that, is maybe brush it down and take off any dirt and obviously any rough skin. I personally won't peel these.
No.
And then what I'll do
is in the skin, right?
Yeah, and then literally all I'll do with that is I'll take it down the middle, like that, and create the carrot like that. Now that once again creates these edges that will go nice and crispy. You could, I have seen people do it, where you cut the carrot just at a couple of angles. And that is also very nice, but personally don't cut it into discs.
And I think I heard
We need to wash
somewhere
those.
that if you buy them with the green on, they start to get softer from the second you cut the green off. So don't cut the green off until you're about to cook. Did you know that?
Did not know
And
that.
I've seen a few people, I know they need washing, but just doing this. So you leave a little bit of green on when you serve them.
You can do that, but then I would say that then what you'll find is, I think you also have to remember that with the Christmas lunch, you've got different generations of people, and I know for sure that my mum and dad would not eat that and would cut that off.
I wouldn't eat it.
Well, I know, but I think presentation is key. Don't get me wrong. Everything that we like to do when it comes to a roast and a Christmas lunch, which I view as a very similar thing as I've mentioned, is cut everything and cook everything in a dish as if you're going to present it in that dish. Now, we might actually take a few things and put them in our lovely display dishes, but if you've cooked them with that in mind, they're going to look beautiful. Whereas if you don't have that in mind when you're prepping veg, then it tends to not look as nice. And you do eat with your eyes as much as you do with your with everything else. So yeah, with your mouth, mate. So we are lucky. We've got these carrots. We did get these carrots from 𝑭𝒊𝒏𝒅. So we've got purple, yellow, and orange. I think if you can get hold of that, it's a really nice mixture, just because it adds lots of different colour to the pan. And basically, there's a few options here.
Look at that!
Yeah.
Surprise carrot. Yellow and purple.
And the sad thing is, if you boil that carrot end up yellow. The purple just goes into the water.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, even when we roast it, you'll lose some of the colour.
Like some of my monge too that I did this summer. They were purple, and then when you blanch them, they go green.
Really? So, 𝑭𝒃𝒄𝒄.
Right, I'll wash these carrots,
Yeah.
and then we'll get some orange ones in.
Yeah. Okay, so we've cut all our carrots like that. Now I think this, to be honest, is my favourite way to roast carrots, full stop. But at Christmas, it's nice to add a few Christmassy layers to it. So we will always use a fat and a sugar, I guess. And the fat, obviously, with this, we're going to use olive oil. For roasting, you obviously always need a fat in the pan when you want to roast something. We have a lovely honey from 𝑭𝒊𝒏𝒅 𝑴𝒆 honey, but I recommend you get any local honey you can get your hands on. But ideally, do check it's not one of those horrible supermarket ones that are actually mostly syrup, which is bonkers. I mean, I believe that honey, if it says it's honey on a jar, it should be honey, but unfortunately it isn't always. So we're going to add the honey in there with a bit of olive oil. We've got a roasting pan already in the 𝑭𝒂, which is getting nice and hot. And what you want, a little bit like when we put the potatoes into the fat, you want that sizzle to start with, and that's going to start the roasting process. And they're going to go nice and golden and caramelised. So at this point, yeah, be fairly liberal with the honey. Liberal means fairly a lot, doesn't it? Is that right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Generous with your honey.
Generous. Now, we actually don't have any, but I would give a squeeze of clementine at this point if we had some. And also consider what herbs work well with it. So we have thyme here from the garden, something I wish I had more of in life. And that just goes in like that. And then, I mean, to be honest, when it comes to herbs like rosemary, thyme, sage, they work with most things. So if you've got it in the garden or if you've got it locally, just go and forage it. And then sage is quite overpowering though, so you don't want too much sage. And we're going to put those in there as well. And tear those leaves. Now, another thing you could add in here if you are a particular mustard fan is whole grain mustard works really well. I personally like to add whole grain mustard to these when we're having them with beef. I think they work well with beef when they're like that. Given this is Christmas, as I say, I think that just a little squeeze of clementine or orange in here. I think this is a 𝑭𝒊𝒏𝒅 recipe that I've probably plagiarised in some way, but I'll always give him a shout out. Your mate Jamie.
My mate Jamie.
Yeah. That is someone that is on my list of people I'd love to meet. So, and then you're going to do the honours, mate, and you're going to
get my hands dirty.
Yeah, we're going to put a nice bit of sea salt in there.
And is this a job that you could maybe get done like early in the morning up to this stage here?
Yeah, definitely. You could have, I mean, there's certain things that I just would rather do on the morning rather than the day before. I think these would probably be fine in the fridge the day before. Yeah. But it doesn't take very long, so I'd rather do it there and then, or in the morning of. And at these, timings has never been my strong point because I kind of just do things as I know to do them.
You're an intuitive cook.
But with an 𝑭𝒂 as well, it is a bit different, and people that have 𝑭𝒂s will know that you can't be quite as surgical with timings. But these will only take about half an hour if the pan's nice and hot. So you can do these towards the end of everything. You could even put these in when you're resting the turkey, to be fair.
Wow.
Because, yeah, they're only going to take about half an hour, especially now you've cut them, because you've reduced the size of them as well. So they're going to go softer quicker.
Nice.
So that's them done. Another side dish, but we're not going to do it today, is a cauliflower and broccoli cheese, which I think I've done a recipe on YouTube before, so we'll link that down below. And to be honest, I think that plus a cauliflower and broccoli cheese, plus maybe some sprouts.
Pigs in blankets.
Pigs in blankets, of course. You love your pigs in blankets.
Stuffing.
Stuffing, gravy and turkey. That's plenty.
Yeah.
So we have decided to do 2 chickens today purely because we couldn't get a turkey in time. The difference between the 2 is really just obviously the size and how long they take to cook. Turkey, I have done some good turkeys. I have messed it up before as well.
Oh.
I think it is. I think the thing I learned with the turkey that changed the game for me is cook the turkey and then take it out, take the legs off it and stick the rest of it back in, because the breast takes a lot longer than the legs normally.
Oh.
With chicken, it's a little bit more straightforward. This is going to take roughly from start to finish about 2 hours, maybe just shy of 2 hours, but it depends on the weight of the chicken. What I've done here is I've done a classic trivet, which is what we're going to use to make the gravy afterwards, but it also keeps the meat off the pan so that it doesn't cook quicker at the bottom. We've put lots of butter in under the skin under here, and some herbs. With the turkey, I would probably go with some hot, soft herbs underneath, so like parsley, marjoram under there. We've just done some rosemary and thyme.
Sage?
Yeah, sage.
Because the herbs underneath wouldn't necessarily infuse the flavour, or would they?
No, they do. They add to the flavour massively, especially when you carve it.
Nice.
But the butter obviously is the fat we're using here, with a bit of olive oil as well. The little trick I like to do is I do a little bit of maple syrup on the turkey and on this, which adds to the caramelisation. But the other thing with the trivet, which is great, is obviously the meat from the juices from the chicken. I don't normally do this when there's 2 in the pan, but we'll mix with all the veg, and then you'll get this lovely, and the butter, and you'll get this lovely juice here. Now, with roast chicken, I would probably baste twice, but with turkey, I'd probably do it 3 or 4 times, where you're obviously adding things back in. So we're just going to baste them like this, and just bring that lovely juices back up. I mean, it basically just reintroduces the juices to the meat.
Reintroduces.
Wait, that could be a good brand name for something, I don't know what.
A turkey baster.
Good tip as well, don't wear cashmere when cooking, which is what I'm currently wearing.
No.
Very warm, and also not great.
A Jamie Oliver tip was actually to take some of this basting liquid at the end and put it on your spuds.
And fairness, that makes sense, yeah.
As long as veggies aren't eating it.
Cool, right, these are going to go back in, and then we're going to get these spuds on.
Woohoo!
We have taken the potatoes out. I think, roughly how long do you think that was? About 10 minutes?
15, I would say.
Yeah, and the key with potatoes, that to be fair, this is only something I've done more recently, is to give them, about 5 minutes to let the steam evaporate. Why is that? There is a scientific reason.
I think it's so that the outer actually is able to dry out a bit and create a bit of a shell.
Is that what it is?
Because then you really get the fluffy on the inside and the crispy on the outside.
I think that's what you're right.
Yeah.
The key thing as well is to chuff them, which I don't know why, but that sounds like a rude word. And basically you want to fluff them like that and jiggle around like that quickly. Okay, good time to add a nice amount of salt, and you want to make sure that you try and coat them as best possible. Could do this on the hob if you wanted, but this is so hot already.
So what fat have you used for these ones?
We have used goose fat, which is an organic goose fat. Look, to be honest, unless you're a veggie or a vegan, animal fat makes the best roast potatoes. It's just a fact, and generally tends to be the best for you. Arguably, there's a lot of
Could you use
science
beef
around there.
tallow?
You could use beef tallow. We have used beef tallow and beef dripping before. I've always found it can make them go almost too crispy, which I know sounds weird, but you lose the fluff in the middle.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's more of a timings thing. Goose fat is my preferred option. But look, roast potatoes with olive oil are still very, very good. So let's not dismiss that. And if we did run out, I would just use olive oil.
Yeah.
But yeah, an animal fat would be my preference for this. It also kind of makes sense to use a goose fat, given the time of year. So we're going to get these on, nice big helping of salt. Now, another mistake that's easy to make, that I regularly used to make, is turning these too soon. Because I'm putting them facing downwards, like the largest surface area facing down into the fat. And what's going to happen now is that is obviously going to start to crisp up. And if you start turning them too soon, you lose that initial crisp. So I would leave these for at least 20 minutes, maybe even half an hour before I do anything. They're going to go in at the hottest possible point. The other tip, I would say, is for added flavour, we're going to add some garlic bulbs, which we're going to open up, and we're going to add some rosemary, but add that for the last 20-minute blitz. If you add that now, it's just going to burn. So similar to the roasties, we've got some, but this is olive oil in here, a bit of hot oil. We are going to add a bit of salt. Now with these carrots, just spread them out. To be honest, I probably could have gone for a slightly bigger pan, because an easy mistake to make with this is putting them so they're stacked on top of each other. Now, you know, from a common sense perspective, every carrot needs to be touching some part of the enamel surface or the pan, otherwise it won't crisp in the same way. So we're going to try and spread these out evenly. And you know, when it comes to roasting, like obviously you can burn things, but it takes longer to burn for sure. And I think the important thing is just to keep an eye on things, check in on things, and you'll learn generally how long things tend to take. Get those on a slightly lower heat, then a blitz.
So it's probably an hour or so since we last saw you, and now, 𝑭𝒊𝒏𝒅 style, we're going to do the pigs in blankets.
Yeah.
I think this is an absolute essential for Christmas Day.
It is an essential. I have to be honest, you quite enjoy making them. I'm quite happy to buy them from the butchers. Put them along this way.
That is so lazy. Look,
I know.
So,
but then I'm all about saving time. If you're happy to do them, previous years we've bought them from the butchers.
I would say the effort to time ratio for a pigs in blanket is so minimal that you might as well choose the best quality sausages you can find.
Well, 𝑭𝒊𝒏𝒅 Farm do the best.
The nicest bacon you can find.
Okay.
And
it gives you pleasure, so I'm happy.
It gives me something to do.
Fine.
I think one of the secrets of Christmas as well.
Keeping your wife busy.
Well, keeping someone busy. Like, it's always good to have a job that you can give other people, don't you think?
Oh, no, you're spot on. And I'm actually probably not, I've not been the best at that. And each year I've learned that I'm a bit too much of a control freak and letting people.
You stopped your brother from peeling potatoes last year because he wasn't peeling them to your liking.
Was that last year?
Or the year before?
I think it was the year before. Yeah, anyway. But yeah. I think I'm relinquishing stuff. Your brother will help me this year. But yeah, you're right. I think it's having a strategy, giving people jobs. It is everyone's Christmas at the end of the day, and it's getting everyone involved. So yeah, I mean, actually, pigs in blankets is another thing that I would probably do these the day before.
Yes.
Line them up, stick just foil over them in a cold room or in the fridge. We're quite lucky we've got an old house, so that room gets cold enough that I think they'll be fine.
Yeah.
And just line them up.
So do you want to explain what are the other things that people can do the day before?
Okay, so we talked through gravy making. That is the most obvious and easy one. And to be honest, if you're also entertaining on Boxing Day, I would do both gravies then. Cauliflower and broccoli cheese, get that done.
Really?
Yorkshire pudding batter.
The full thing?
Yeah.
You get the full thing done
Yeah,
already?
because if you think about it, it's the same as making a mac and cheese. If you do it in our way, which we will roast the cauliflower and broccoli, and then we will do the cheese sauce over that, you can build it all together. Don't maybe put the breadcrumbs and the final parmesan on. Tinfoil on top in the fridge, and that will heat up and that'll be perfect. What you don't realise, and I'm still massively learning on this journey, and genuinely I would love, if we could afford to do this, and we can't afford for me to do this, if I could just go and work in a professional kitchen for 6 months. It'd be brutal, it'd be tough, don't get me wrong, and I think there'd be times I'd regret it, but I'd love to learn from the ground up. Because there are so many tricks of the trade that we don't know.
Yeah.
And in restaurants, I think a big percentage of what we eat, even from good restaurants, has been made the day before.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of prep that goes into it.
Yeah.
So what else could you do the day before? I mean, I guess the other thing the day before that you like to do is actually just plan the table and get the table laid.
Exactly.
You don't want to do it too early because of spiders, dust. Generally,
having to use your table for other meals. Yeah.
But you like to do that the day before, so that's ready.
You can also, if you're going to make festive ice cubes, you can do that.
Yes.
Slices of. You're not a fan of festive ice cubes?
We had a lot left over. That's the only thing. But you love these creative things.
I do.
And I admire it. What else?
Your flowers. Festive foliage lasts a really long time.
Yeah.
So you can do that the day before, or even many days before.
Yeah, I mean, I think the key thing is just having a little written plan and sticking to that, and it can be very overwhelming, and we've felt overwhelmed in the first few Christmases here. And it is, look, entertaining is both really rewarding and can be quite tiring, but I think the rewardingness outweighs that other side of it.
Yeah.
And I think something I've learned is not, if things don't quite go to plan, inevitably there'll be something that doesn't quite go to plan. Don't let it ruin everything else. Just move on from it. And most things in the kitchen can actually be recovered.
I agree, except for burnt carrots. How are our carrots doing?
Carrots are out, actually.
Perfect. Okay, so we've done all of these sausages wrapped in bacon.
Would you call these, I guess they are pigs in blankets. These are quite big pigs in blankets, aren't they?
It's pigs in, I mean, it's not
long pigs in blankets.
Yeah, still pigs in blankets. And as Charlie suggested, we put them on a grill so that the fat can drip down, they don't get too soggy, and these are going to go in the oven for about half an hour.
Once again, let's just keep an eye on them.
Yeah, play it by pigs
here.
here.
In the 𝑭𝒂𝒂, actually.
Okay.
Here we go. Underneath. We are actually going to use this as an opportunity to take the roasties out and have a little look. So, we're at the exciting point with the roasties. So if you have a look here, we have obviously all these edges and I've turned them around once already, and those obviously are the side that started off facing down in the oil, and they've gone all crispy. The second side is now going crispy, so I often do like another turn. There are always a few that are a bit slower, so just make sure they're coated in the oil. They've got all different shapes and sizes, which is nice. And then we are going to add the garlic and the rosemary at this point. We are getting very close. The other thing with roasties is you could get them to this point and you could take them out and then heat them towards the end of serving. I quite like them as fresh as possible, but you could do that. So if they crisp up quicker than you'd want, you could take them out and then put them back in for a second stint. And I don't think there would be a huge difference in the end result. So we're going to make sure they're nice and coated in the oil as well. What is interesting is you'll see how much they've shrunk.
Yeah.
Can you see with the boiling? And so this is why you're always better to go bigger than, go more than you want.
I'd say that's ready.
Yeah, but there are going to be some that are ready before others, so I'm not going to take them out.
Okay. Just crispy spuds.
So just crispy. So what we are now going to do, we're going to grab some lovely rosemary from our garden. It sounds geeky, but it's quite nice to have a couple of different types of rosemary in here. So that one is Jessups Upright. I think this is just called rosemary common. Be quite liberal with your rosemary. And then we are also going to put a garlic bulb's worth in. So just like that.
I never knew that that's how you suddenly get all the cloves out.
Yeah, and obviously, I'm not even going to say whose face I picture when I do that. you know.
We'll imagine which Oh, not a politician.
Well,
yeah,
right. Okay, probably better with a flat knife actually, because they're quite sharp. If you can grab me my lovely 𝑭𝒊𝒏𝒅. 𝑭𝒊𝒏𝒅. Thank you. Not sponsored by 𝑭𝒊𝒏, but would love them to sponsor me. We are going to just open them up. If you just stuck them in here without doing this, they would do something, but they would not be as effective.
You dropped a couple, mate.
I did drop a couple. So you get those in there. This is going to make the kitchen smell amazing as well. Little tip, if your roasties are beyond where you want them to be, or like nearly there, or they look dry for whatever reason, you can definitely add a bit more oil or fat in at this point. Don't have to.
Over there, by the way.
You're naughty. It's going to be hot. Okay, right. Get that back in. We are also going to check in on the chicken, which I think is very close. So we're going to want to baste this again. It is getting very crispy on top. The herbs, do you know what? I probably shouldn't have put the rosemary on that early, actually. So the rosemary has gone a little bit too crispy, but that will be very tasty. So you've got this is going to make amazing gravy though, because look at these juices. You've got all the jamminess in the pan. There we go. Right, look at this. This is going to make lovely gravy. Right, time to talk gravy. This is something that I think a lot of people think is more work than it really is. It is also something that we have learned on our journey through sort of Tim Spector and ultra processed food and Chris Van Tulleken, in terms of Bisto and other brands are available, being super ultra processed.
Yeah.
Right. So, and it's something that my grandma would have used. My mum maybe still even does at times. And there are some pretty nasty ingredients in 𝑭𝒊𝒏. So
We don't want a lawsuit, darling.
𝑭𝒊𝒏 can come for me if they really want. But my point being is, why not just make the gravy yourself? So we've got all the veg in here already, and this would be enough to make gravy that you could use possibly for tomorrow. If, say today was Sunday, and it wasn't Christmas, or say it was Christmas, whatever, you could use this gravy in a shepherd's pie, you could use this gravy in a cottage pie, you could use this for another roast tomorrow if it was Christmas Day today and Boxing Day tomorrow. So there's going to be plenty here. The key is there is fat in here, so we're going to basically want to put this pan straight on the 𝑭𝒂𝒕𝒖𝒓𝒆, but on a hob. We're going to want to burn the fat off. We're going to want to add some corn flour in, which is going to thicken it. And then we're going to want to add some stock into here, chicken stock, and that is then going to form the basis of our gravy. It's really straightforward and simple. But whenever your meat's resting, that's the time to get your gravy on.
So normally on around the 22nd or 23rd of December, I'll go and do a little bit of foraging in our garden and in the hedgerows, and lots of winter greenery just looks so nice en masse on a Christmas Day table. So I have got some yew here from our yew hedge, and then some lovely traditional dark green holly. I also love this holly with the two tones on it, and some of the branches even have berries. The berries don't last quite as long, so I might nip out on Christmas Day morning and get some more branches with berries. And then the only thing that I did buy rather than forage are the ilex berries, but I think these just add a really beautiful pop of colour. So what I like to do for my Christmas Day table is just create loads of these little posy glasses. It's nearly free to make them, and en masse they have a really great impact on the table. So let's put together a few of those.
Right, okay, we're back. We're back in the kitchen, mate. So, the birds are out. The birds are resting. I think we talked about that already. The gravy is on. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding corn flour into the pan, which is going to act as a thickener. And then we're going to add some lovely chicken stock. And we're actually going to add one of your Freya bone broths. To be honest, this is more because we probably don't have quite enough stock. And it just adds a little bit of goodness, and we've got it in the fridge. But you can buy some amazing turkey and chicken stocks from Piper's Farm and online. Daylesford do some amazing ones. What you'll see is the oily bits are coming to the top, so we're gonna basically move it over here, and then we're gonna remove any fat and just get them almost facing the way that they're gonna spend their life. Look good?
Amazing.
See, if you put the garlic and rosemary in much earlier, the garlic and rosemary would definitely burn. Yeah. If anything, I've proven that with the chicken. It's not the chicken that's burnt; it's the rosemary on top of the chicken that's gone a bit of a weird colour. Okay, because there's still a little bit of fat in here, which is quite nice. I'm going to put them just on a lower heat for the last bit. Get these in there. This is the beauty of an 𝑭𝒂𝒕𝒖𝒓𝒆. These are also looking quite good. Carrots are pretty much done. Depends how crispy you want them, really. Could do with probably being a little bit crispier. But they are getting now. What do you think?
They look pretty good to me.
And then, so we'll get them in here as well. And then now, what we're going to do is we're going to just take some of the fat off this. Now, the one thing I've forgotten actually that I always add to gravy is a bit of sweetness. So today, given we're going to be having the gravy with cranberry sauce, we are going to add some cranberry sauce into here. Fairly good amount.
So this has probably taken us around 3 hours, would you say, from start to finish?
Yeah, just under, I'd say.
Just under, and we are pretty much ready to go. It's smelling incredible. I think we need to do the crispy test on the roast potatoes.
Go on then.
Need a knife.
And the gravy is ready, so I'm just going to take that off.
Yeah, that looks pretty perfect to me. Okay.
Right.
Time to serve.
Time to serve, mate. Let's do this.
Alrighty.